guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about today's video because we have a couple things going on. I have a couple new products that I picked up at Ulta yesterday, and we have a dupe palette that we are going to be testing out today that I did not realize was going to be duped, and it's one of my favorite palettes, so I'm very excited about it. I actually have both palettes on my eyes today. Guess which side is high-end? Guess which side is affordable? I certainly cannot tell the difference. But before we get into all the good stuff, if you are a new visitor here, I want to give you a special welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel and make sure that your notifications are turned on. With that intro out of the way, let's get right into it. Before we dip into all the new stuff, I just want to get my skin prepped and ready to go. I have a little bit of this. I don't know if you guys heard me talk about this about 6 months ago or so. I've had it down in my makeup room for the last 3 months, so I don't use it as much as I did initially. It's basically like a gel moisturizer. I love using this before foundation if my skin's feeling really dry. Plus it kind of is cooling, just feels nice on the skin. Just to soften things up. And then we're gonna add a little bit of my e.l.f. Halo Glow before we get to the foundation. This one is in the shade 2, I believe. Yeah, this one is shade 2, just to kind of brighten things up on the high points of my face. Okay, let's jump into foundation next, and then we'll get to the new stuff. So I have some new products from About Face that we're going to be trying out today. So I thought we would dip back into my About Face Performer foundation. I really like this foundation. I think it's a really good one that you can find at Ulta. I use the shade LN1 Neutral. This one is going to be a little bit light for me right now, so I'm going to add just a dollop of my Wet n Wild Dewy foundation in Caramel. But formula-wise, this one reminds me quite a bit of my Maybelline Lumi Matte foundation, which I really love. So I'm just gonna add a tiny bit to kind of get that shade just right. And let's apply this with my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Mix those shades together and just start on the outer perimeter of my face. Let's add just a little bit of concealer really quick. I'm gonna go with my Skin Silk Under Eye Concealer from Revolution. This one is in Light Peach. Obsessed with this stuff. I just use it basically like right there from that kind of like pocket of my eye, right down below, and kind of just basically brighten up from here to here. Then I'm going to use my Verse 4W Serum Concealer just on a few areas around the perimeter. We're going to use my Alter Ego 101 brush today. This is a close dupe for the Angie Hot and Flashy from BK Beauty. I'll be using those brushes today because we do have another palette from Alter Ego that we're going to be testing out that I'm so excited about. So we'll be using my Alter Ego brushes, which are a very close dupe for the Angie Hot and Flashy ones. I've mentioned them a few times here before, but for those of you that are new or don't catch all of my videos, they're close. I would still say the Angie Hot and Flashy ones are a little bit fuller. These are a little bit less fluffy and dense, but they wash well, they're comfortable, the shapes are the same, and basically they perform pretty much the same, and they're way cheaper, by the way. Go to the eyelids, and then we'll kind of simultaneously blend out this under eye. You guys see how great that makes my under eyes look? Hallelujah, because I feel like my under eyes are looking old. I mean, I am getting older. Just turned 44 last month. Funny story, the day of my 44th birthday, I woke up and my husband made me breakfast. We were sitting with the kids and he mentioned that I was 44, and I looked at him and I was like, no, I'm 45. He's like, no, you're 44. This whole last year I've been thinking that I was already 44. I was 43 all of last year. I feel like I lost a year of my life. I guess it depends on how you look at it. You could also say I gained a year because I'm 44 again. The mind tricks that we play with ourselves as we get older, it's kind of silly. I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, let's set that down with just a touch of powder. I'm just gonna use my Rimmel Stay Matte. Let's go with this Sydney Grace little powder brush here. I'm gonna set my eyelids first. Then I'll go across my forehead and then over some of these spots where I put that concealer. All right, now let's move over to some of the new things. So I was in my Ulta just the other day and I stopped by the About Face section. I haven't tried out a lot from them other than the lip liners and the foundation. So I picked up their cream bronzer, and I also picked up one of their blush balms, which is kind of like matte finish cream blush. These felt so interesting in the store, so I picked up one of those as well. So we're going to test out this bronzer. I love the packaging of this. It's twist off, so it's like, I don't know, for some reason I like that. I think it's kind of fun. So I went with the shade Beach Goth. I can't remember if this was the lightest shade or if there was one lighter than this. These feel so nice and creamy. So we're going to dip into this just with this. I don't think you can buy this brush anymore. This is an old Moda brush. I'm just going to tap that onto my cheeks. Ooh, that's a great shade. This is very, very creamy. I mean, you can tell when something's super buttery and creamy when you're getting like brush marks in it. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. Just be careful as you're picking it up. You're gonna get a lot of product on your brush. So especially if you pick a shade that's maybe a little bit dark for you or a little bit more pigmented than what you need, you might want to go in with a lighter hand because you're gonna get a lot of product loaded up on your brush. But look how quick this is blending out. Very nice. Let's go across the side of my nose just because, a little bit down my jawline here as well, just to kind of tie everything together. All right, so far so good. I really like that formula. Super nice. I'm just gonna go around my hairline, blend things out. Let's take a look at this blush. So this is their Cheek Freak Blush Balm. I picked the shade Champagne Room. They had some really pretty shades to pick from. I went with this kind of corally pink shade. I love their packaging. You know what font this is reminding me of? AFV. Any of you guys watch AFV? So I grew up watching the old school Bob Saget AFV videos, and then I kind of like lost my taste for them. I just kind of got tired of them because AFV was on for like 30 years. But my husband is actually an AFV fan, or AFV type video fan. Like he likes watching those kind of like silly home video shows or channels on YouTube. I don't know. So whenever I see AFV, I think of my husband. How do you guys think that little logo, if there was a V at the end, it would look like the AFV logo? That's way off track. Let's get back to the blush. So I'm gonna go in with my Milk makeup brush. We're just gonna tap it into this. By the way, these are also, they feel super buttery and creamy, but as you kind of blend them out, they get more of a powdery feel to them. It's a really interesting formula. Curious to see how it goes on. Okay, there is the cheek color, very pretty. Let's add some highlighter. So I didn't pick up a highlighter from About Face. I think their highlighter was either a liquid or a cream, which I'm not a huge fan of. I just like traditional powder highlighters. So I just am gonna go back to my RMS Beauty one that I tried out recently. I like this highlighter. I don't know that I love it. If I had to go back, I don't know that I would, I don't know. This is probably not gonna be in my top 5 favorite highlighters in my collection, but I like it. So I wanna keep using it just because it was kind of pricey. I think I mentioned in that video that I had the Champagne Pop Old School Becca highlighter in my cart initially, and I took it out and I put this one in. I wish I could go back and have a redo, because I would get the Champagne Pop one, I think. I just think I like the color of that one a little bit better. Let's move on to the brows next. So I picked up this brow pencil. I actually had a brow pencil from About Face in my cart. It was one of those kind of triangular shaped brow pencils. But as I was getting ready to leave the store, I stopped by the Morphe section, which I'll be honest, guys, I know a lot of people love Morphe. I've tried out a handful of things from them over the years. I've not been wildly impressed with the brand Morphe. But I saw this brow pencil and it looked very interesting to me. So we're gonna try out their Nano brow pencil today. Now, quick side note, I have tried out this type of pencil before. A couple of years ago, I got this pencil from the brand Unleasha. It is also a micro brow pencil. I'm going to insert a close-up for you guys right here of this micro pencil compared to, actually not this one, let's do the Morphe one compared to my Precisely My Brow, which is just a traditional slim brow pencil. It is micro fine, super, super tiny. So one thing I like about that, I like the precision that you can get from these. You can get such great precision that mimics a brow pen, which I have been loving a brow pen lately as well. But the only caveat or caution I would give to you if you are trying a pencil like this, or as we will maybe see with the Morphe one today, make sure that you do not twist it up too high. I would barely have this thing rolled up at all, because if you have too much of it exposed, it snaps very easily. So you want to keep it like barely visible. Kind of reminds me of working with a mechanical pencil. So let's get into this one. I'll insert a close-up of this for you guys right here. I went with the shade Cold Brew, which is a little bit deeper, but again, because we're dealing with a micro pencil, I'm hoping to have to do less filling and just more kind of targeted drawing. So I'm going to barely roll this thing up. Just give it a little sampling on the back of my hand. So I guess the idea is that you can get like much finer strokes with this. Seems like a really good ashy shade. So let's just get to it. So I don't know. So far, I don't know that, I mean, the idea is that you'll be able to be more precise with this, but I don't know that it's looking much different than just when I use a traditional slim brow pencil of any variety, whether that be my Browie Wowie from LA Colors as $1.98 or my $22, $24 Precisely My Brow. It's my first time trying it, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time, but I'm not quite sure it's giving me the precise definition that a brow pen would give me. Speaking of the Browie Wowie, let's add a little bit of my Browie Wowie brow gel just to set those in place. All right, let's move on to eyeshadow. So I'm very excited to share with you guys the new Alter Ego palette. This is their Sunlit Dreams palette. If you remember, I think it was just last month, I was talking about the Amber Glow palette that was a dupe for the Golden palette from Natasha Denona, which I really love. But in that video, I mentioned that as much as I love the Golden palette, I like the I Need a Warm palette even better. For those of us that are into our bronzy warm tones. And what do you know? They must have already been working on it, because this showed up at my door just a couple of weeks later. This is a dupe for the, or is meant to be a dupe for the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette. So we're going to test these out side by side today. I love doing that with these videos. I think Alter Ego always impresses me with how well they are able to dupe these palettes. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. We are going to do, I think I always do Natasha Denona on the left and Alter Ego on the right. So I'm gonna keep with the same pattern just so I don't get myself messed up. But I will insert for you guys right here a close-up of the new Sunlit Dreams palette, as well as the swatches of this one compared to the Natasha Denona. So you can see how closely they mimic each other when swatched. And then we're going to create a look with this beautiful palette. I love this one. If you don't mind warm tones, these are gorgeous warm tones, but I so love the shimmers in this palette. There's some rose golds in here that are beautiful, some beautiful champagnes, and even this kind of golden champagne, some bronzes. It's stunning, very chocolatey and delicious. So we're going to do that now. I'm gonna zoom you guys in just a bit and we'll do the side-by-side comparison. All right, I've zoomed you guys in. So little spoiler alert, I actually just filmed this segment of this video and my mic was not turned on. So in full transparency, my reactions to the side-by-side are not going to be truly authentic because I already filmed that. So I already know how well this performs, but I'm gonna fake it anyways for entertainment value. So we're going to do the Natasha Denona on the left side of my face, the Alter Ego on the right. I am going to be using my Alter Ego brushes. I will wipe off the brushes in between sides as we go and kind of do the side-by-side. So let's start off on the left side with Natasha Denona. We are gonna jump into, with a large blending brush, this shade right here. This is the shade Ripe. And this we're going to throw just all through the crease loosely. Then I'm going to take a small blending brush. By the way, that first brush that I used was the 205. We're gonna take the 201. It's just a small itty bitty blending brush with that same shade. We're gonna run that under the lower lash line, just about halfway across. Jumping over to the right side, we're gonna take the Alter Ego palette, and the duplicate for Ripe, got a little key here in front of me, is the shade Cozy, which is this one right here. Same brush, I wiped it off on I have a clean towel sitting on my lap. I'm gonna dip into this shade, and again, just run this all through the crease. Okay, gonna further deepen that up. We're going to take this shade right here, which is the shade Soft Spot. I'm gonna take kind of a mid-sized blending brush. This one is the 204. we're gonna dip into that shade and just run this one through the socket. About halfway across. And the duplicate for that shade is called Rustic. That's this one right here. Same thing on the other side. Now we are going to test out that creamy formula. So from Natasha Denona, that's this shade down here. It's called Flashover. This is a very creamy kind of reddish brown. I'm going to take that on that mid-size blending brush, the 204. Wiped it off. We're really going to build that up just by kind of like wiping it over this shade, which does have, it's definitely a different texture. If you haven't tried out this texture, it's much more, it's very creamy. And we're gonna build this up, just kind of circular motions right at the lash line and slowly work it just up into this outer corner just to deepen this up. Look how beautifully rich and warm that is. So I'll give you a little spoiler, I did notice when I first did this look, the Natasha Denona, or the Alter Ego version of this shade, I needed to go in with 2 layers. So I'll probably just build up a little more on my brush this time. See if I can get it in one shot, but just a heads up. You will notice, if you had both of these palettes, you would notice that the Natasha Denona one is just a little bit more pigmented than the Alter Ego. So the duplicate in the Alter Ego shade is right here. This is the shade Wood. Again, I'm just really going to swipe that into this shade, get as much product in there as I can. And again, just starting at the lash line, just working this up and in. Yeah, I'm actually still kind of, see, it's not quite as rich and deep, but you'll see once I go in with another light layer, we'll get there. It doesn't take long. It just takes a little bit of layering. Such a nice formula though. If you struggle with patchiness, if you have a lot of lines in your outer lid, this is a great formula because it's just so smooth and creamy. I feel like this one's a little more angular than the other one. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm gonna wipe that off and just kind of, no more product on this side. I'm just trying to get the shapes to match a little bit better. There we go. Now let's go over to my first shimmer. So we're gonna start off with this shade from Natasha Denona. This is the shade Push. And take a little bit of that on my ring finger and tap that right on the center of the lid. And then over to the Sunlit Dreams palette. The duplicate for that shade is this one right here. It's called Luster. Again, just right on the center. Those two feel differently. The Natasha Denona one, to the touch, feels a little grittier, but they look exactly the same on the eyes. Now for the inner corner, back over to Natasha Denona. Probably one of my favorite shades in here is this one down here, which is the shade Homey. I love it. It's a little bit cooler of a tone, but today I want to use this shade Fancy. And for that, we're going to use a brush. So I'm going to take the 202, which is a flat brush, great for shimmers, and then pop this on the inner part of the lid, lightly overlapping the peachy bronze that I put down in the center. This is another area that you're going to see a little bit of a difference from Alter Ego. I'm going to layer this Natasha Denona one up with 2 layers because actually the Alter Ego, and I have noticed this before with their other palettes, some of the shimmers, especially the more like traditional metallic formulas, are a little bit stronger from Alter Ego than even Natasha Denona. They're a little more punchy. So the duplicate for Fancy is the shade Twinkle, which is this one right here. And you'll probably notice a little bit more punch to this shade than the first layer that I put down. You guys see that? But other than that, I mean, what do you think? Pretty identical, don't you think? I don't know, I feel like I might have gone in a little further. Let me get just a tiny bit more. There we have it. So I would probably be done right there. I might add a little bit of liner. Today I'm gonna add just a little bit of my Wet n Wild Simmer Brown Nail Liner, just a little bit of a wing here on the outer third of the lash line. And then we're gonna top this with a matte, just to see how they both perform. I'm gonna take the Natasha Denona palette. This shade right here is called Pep. I'm gonna take my Persona liner brush. We're just gonna tap that on the tip of the brush and lightly apply this on top of that liner, kind of smudging it out a bit. Also helps to set that liner down. Just looks a little bit more dramatic. Now over to Alter Ego, we're gonna take the shade Toast right here. Same thing on this side. Okay, I'm gonna throw on a couple coats of mascara. I'm gonna take my Persona mascara today. Then I will zoom you guys back out. We'll take a look at the finished eye look, and then we will finish off with the lips. All right, here is the finished eye look. Very pretty. What do you guys think? Can you tell a difference from one side to the other? They look pretty similar to me. Super impressed and very excited that they duped this one. This is such a great palette. I'm telling you guys, if you skipped over the I Need a Warm because of that high price tag, but you loved the warm, chocolatey, rich color story, pick this one up. I think it is amazing. Big thank you to Alter Ego for sending it my way. So let's finish off with the lips. So I pulled out my About Face lip liners. I love these things. Probably if I had to pick my favorite shade would be this one right here, the shade False Alarm. It's kind of a deeper rosy nude. So we're gonna just overline with this a bit. These lip liners are very long wearing, but they set down very quickly. So you really want to kind of blend them out as you go. And I'm going to top that with a little bit of my Tower 28 Coconut Gloss. I do have an About Face lip gloss, but I'll be honest, I don't love at least the shades of their lip glosses that I've tried. And here we have it. This look is complete. What do you guys think of this one? Let me know what you guys think of the brand About Face. I'm a big fan of them. I didn't mention it in the video other than just the prices that I listed on screen, but the thing I love about the brand About Face, they're kind of in between high-end and drugstore prices. They have good packaging like a high-end brand would, but their price is a little bit less than what you would get like at a Sephora. And their lip liners, even at full price, are $12, which is a decent price. I mean, $12. There's a lot of drugstore products these days that cost $12. I'll keep you guys posted on the eyebrow pencil. That one's gonna take me a little bit of time. Honestly, my brows look fine today. I was kind of hoping for even more precision from that pencil than I feel like what I got, but maybe I just need to play with it a little bit longer. Very pleased with the bronzer and the blush so far. I don't know that I'd say they set down, but they don't feel overly sticky or dewy on the cheeks, which is nice. I kind of like that in between. Thrilled about this eyeshadow palette. I'm very impressed with it. I mean, can you guys tell the difference between the two sides? I feel like they performed very similarly. Very happy with the pigmentation in the Alter Ego one. I've tried enough of these palettes out over the last couple of years that I kind of know what to expect, and they always just do a really good job. So if you're looking for an affordable alternative to that Natasha Denona palette, highly recommend. I want to mention their brushes again. Oh, that doesn't belong there. This set is really good for the price. So if you happen to be over at the Alter Ego website, you need some decent brushes, but you don't want to spend $100 on a brush set, this one is really great. They seem to be holding up pretty well. I've washed them a few times and they seem to be doing a really good job. So if you are in need of brushes, those are also a recommendation of mine. I do have a discount code, by the way, which I think I've had for a while, but I always forget to mention this sort of thing. If you are interested in the Alter Ego stuff, I'll link that discount code for you down below. I believe it gives you 10% off. That is all I have for you guys for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Stay tuned because I have a speed review that is long overdue. I have a lot of products I need to update you guys on. I mean to do these videos every 2 months, and I've been terrible this last year, let's be honest. So that's gonna be coming your way. Thank you guys again. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.